Good afternoon, Excellency, honorable speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to AVI SDG Dialogue. As you may have learned from our previous session, AVI SDG Dialogue provides an interactive platform for the policy dialogue on a range of topics related to SDG. Warmly welcome to the third panel discussion of the AVI SDG Dialogue. I am Chin Mun Thuan. I am honored to be a moderator of the program today. Today, AVI SDG Dialogue brought the third topic of our webinar series on gender and development to the floor for the discussion. We should be deeply interested by this topic because we would understand what are the progress and challenges in achieving Goal 5 of the SDGs, and what are the vision and strategies that Cambodia pursue in order to achieve gender equality. What are the key interventions being implemented to support women and girls amidst the COVID-19 pandemic? And what are the proposed short-term intervention and long-term strategies for supporting children and youth for the post-COVID-19 recovery? And what's the role should multi-stakeholders and public play to support the process? Excellency, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, in this meantime, we are honored to have our prominent leaders and researchers in the diverse development field who will deliver valuable comments in our program today. Before starting our program, please allow me to introduce our honorable speakers waiting on the screen to share the presentation and comments. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Her Excellency Hu Naratmita. She is Under Secretary of State from the Ministry of Women Affairs. Let me introduce her biography a little bit for our audience. Her Excellency Hu Naratmita is a postgraduate in pharmacies and has more than 20 years of extensive experience in gender equality and women empowerment by working with the Ministry of Women Affairs since 1994. And she was appointed Under Secretary of State in 2018 in charge of Gender Equality Department of Ministry of Women Affairs. Prior to her Excellency Naratmita, she was actively involved in numerous programs playing the management and leadership roles in provision of strategic support on gender mainstream and women leadership to relevant sectors at all levels. Currently, Her Excellency Naratmita is playing a vital role in facilitating and ensuring timely preparation of reports to ASEAN and other cooperative organizations in accordance with the commitment of the Royal Government of Cambodia. Furthermore, she serves as the Director of the Women and Health Department in promoting gender equality and rights of the women, girls, vulnerable groups, and in reproductive health, HIV, and food security and nutrition. Her Excellency Naratmita is a good advocate and has the ability to perform a high-level diplomacy skill with a wide range of the stakeholders, including national, provincial, subnational, level official, private sector, CSO, and target audience. Excellency and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the second honorable speaker is Her Excellency Jirota. She is the Vice President of Cambodian Women Entrepreneur Association. Her Excellency Jirota is a accomplished software executive with over 10 years experience in software and development. She is a senior financial analyst in California and Sydney, and the CEO and founder of KMUM ESOP. Besides that, she worked as the advisory board member of National Council of Science, Technology, and Innovation. She also volunteers work as a vice president of Cambodian Women Entrepreneur Association and Cambodia Digital Technology Association. Her Excellency Jirota holds a bachelor degree in information and computer science from the University of California, Irvine, and a master's degree in business administration from the California State University, Fullerton. As a software developer and financial analyst, she has helped grow and improve a business process of the company. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, please give a big applause to our honorable speaker from National Assembly of Cambodia, Ms. Mchan Linda. Ms. Mchan Linda is working to promote gender equality for more than 10 years. Her expertise covers a number of gender equality issues, parliamentary research, gender statistics, and mentoring of researchers in integrating gender perspective into parliamentary research. She is also a gender specialist for the Cambodia Association for the Parliamentarians on the Population and Development and Cambodia Women Parliamentary Caucus. She was awarded a diploma in gender statistics from the Statistics Sweden and hold a dual degree in the business administration and law from the university in Cambodia. Excellency, honorable speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, follow our agenda today. We will start our captivating program with the first agenda. It is on about women entrepreneurship in Cambodia, which will be conveyed the speech by Her Excellency Chiratha. And the second agenda is about women leadership in Cambodia. The speech will be delivered by Ms. Mchan Linda. And the third agenda will be on policy institutional building for women empowerment in Cambodia, and will be given a speech by Her Excellency Hu Naratmita. And for the last agenda, we will open the floor for the joint discussion, and then we will have a group photo session with all our honorable speakers at the end of the program. Excellency and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to have any question during presentation period, please drop your question in Zoom or Facebook Live so that our honorable speaker will address your question when the discussion session started. And to begin our program, please allow me to invite our honorable speaker from Cambodia Women Entrepreneurs Association, Her Excellency Chiratha, to deliver her speech. And Your Excellency, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chin Bunthon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chiratha. I'm the Vice President of CWA External, and I'm overseeing the Advocacy and Media Committee. It's such a great honor for me today to represent CWA in this discussion. CWA started in 2011 with the support of World Bank and Ministry of Women Affairs. We are representing the voice of women entrepreneurs, where we are envisioning a successful women entrepreneur to make a meaningful impact in the economic development of Cambodia. Our mission is to support the growth of women-owned business in Cambodia. Our overall impact from our member is generating jobs for approximately 20,000 workers based in the last estimate year 2017. During the time we started, we had been providing the learning in conducting business networking and capacity development. We had offered a lot of training services from the past year. On year 2012, we had some fund under the Embassy of Finland, where we had conducted 6 basic financial literacy for our member. And on year 2016, we conducted 8 series of business clinic supported by Swiss agency and development and cooperation, basically again on the basic of accounting, sales marketing, leadership, and entrepreneur workshop. And this year we are conducting series of digital basic workshop, symposium, and tapping some issues on our current cultural norm. CWA representing women leader in businesses and the newest influence and the fastest growing impact on employment and economic of Cambodia. We are expanded our visibility to different provinces, inclusive of young women entrepreneurs. Since we are working with business sustainability, we are focusing more on our advocacy in representing the voice of women entrepreneurs. We have platform in collecting issues and developing business women leader. CWA is a mission and vision oriented organization. We believe that through our advocacy platform, we can strengthen the voice of women entrepreneurs by collecting their challenges and addressing their challenges through the different channels. CWA strategic structure is supported by key players, where the board govern and ultimate responsibility for any action made by the committee, staff member, and the operation of the association, and implemented the policy and committee support and recommend discussion and the need for action, enhance productivity and of the board. CWA have 4 strategic committee, which is very relevant on its operation. One is the advocacy committee, where I'm overseeing collecting issues and challenges that we are addressing in different strategic channels. CWA for the entrepreneur issues ministry for the need of infrastructure, and for Pacific Prakash and the GPSF for the higher level of compelling metric for issues for policy discussion. Our other committee is number 2 is business development, which is our income generating committee, working for sustainability of the association and working on programs relating to capacity development, networking, mentorship, and entrepreneurship improvement. Our number 3 committee is organizational development, working on the member retention program. And last but not least is our media and PR, picking up all the success story in the meeting and mission and put them into the news and communicate in the public at large. We're using social media as our Facebook and LinkedIn as our source of communication. Now looking on COVID impact perspective, we are also now focusing on our attention on robotic era and she era. We combine opportunity on which this would be the beneficial for women entrepreneurs to manage their time by using e-commerce and app store platform to run their businesses more efficiently. So regarding the gender equality, we enhancing the use of enabling technology, in particular information and communication technology, to promote the empower of women, adopt and strengthen sound policy and enforceable legislation for the promoting and gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls at all levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for a very nice presentation. And this is would be a very good start for our discussion later. And thank you. And Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you are now watching the AVI SDG dialogue. And for next, I would like to invite our honorable speaker from the National Assembly of Cambodia, Ms. Mchan Linda, to convey her remarks. Ms. Mchan Linda, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, AVI, and allow me to greet all of you, the participants and Excellency, ladies and gentlemen that have joined this webinar. This is my first time joining AVI SDG Dialogue, and it's a great honor and pleasure to be with you all today. So allow me to share with you our research document, which is shifting your new image from the experience of a woman's entrepreneur, which Excellency Jiratas has mentioned earlier, to our research paper. Actually, it's called a gender statistic research, and it is a joint research which I am represent the team that has received the technical support from Statistics Sweden, And we have a collaboration from Ministries of Women's Affairs, the colleagues of Excellency Punimata. And we have also another ladies and gentlemen from National Institute of Statistics and GETSI organization and CWCC. So allow me to share the screen to our presentation.
Yes, please.
So can you see the screen now?
Not yet, not yet.
I am actually sharing it.
Okay, I can see it
perhaps
now.
I need to switch off the video.
No, it's okay, no problem. Now we can see it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not this one, but this one.
Okay.
Okay. So. It's better now?
Yes, we can see
okay.
it.
So I will touch on 3 important things that we deem to be the root cause of women's leadership and women attend economic activity. So first, let me touch on women in politics and decision-making level, which we include also not just only the women in the parliament, also women in the executive branch, and also women in economy, which include entrepreneurs in this section as well. So from our study, we have found that from the report of World Economic Forum, we have improved quite a lot. That Cambodia has ranked 103 among 56 countries, which is a progress so far. And this is for the Global Gender Gap Index. But if we look into the economic and political empowerment, we can see that economic participation, we have ranked 45, but for the political empowerment, we rank 126. So let's see, I put here the data from first legislative to 6th legislative. You can see clearly that the numbers of women has increased from 6% in the first legislative to 21% in 6th legislative. That means from the first to 6th legislative, we have a increase from 6 to 21. So this is a significant progress. And if we look into the numbers of women and men in the high levels of government, this data is updated in 2018. So we can see that more women in the position of Under Secretary of State. We can see that if compared to other position among women at the column of percentage distribution, we can see that women account for 55% as an Under Secretary of State, comparing to other positions, which is include Deputy Prime Minister, Senior Minister, Minister, Secretary of State, and Under Secretary of State. But if we compare between women and men in the same positions, we can see that the position of Under Secretary of State has accounted only 17% of women, and total position that we have ranged here, we have only 16% of women in the position. And if we look into the position of men and women in the judiciary, here, because we don't have the comparisons of the position of bailiff and notary, so we just include court clerk, lawyer, prosecutor, and judge, which we make comparisons from 2013 to 2019. So you can see that the number is not really that much different. Women serve as judge increased from 14% to 15%. So from 2013 to 2019, it's only 1% increase. But women as a prosecutor has increased 4%. Women as a lawyer has increased 3%. And women as a court clerk has increased 1%. So this is the changes in women in judiciary. And if we look into the women in the position at the central level, so the central level here means women in the government. So we have included the position from vice chiefs of office to general director. As you can see, the chart here, the positions of vice chiefs are counted more than 30%. So it's 32% comparing to the other positions. So it is the highest woman representation in this position. But if we look into the position of a general director, we can see only 10% that are women. And then we look further, how many is women and men as a civil servant? So we can see that within this year, through the reform of the government of Cambodia, we can see that the increase, the total increase of women in the service has reached 41% in 2019. So it is a positive progress. And if we look into the positions of women and men at the provincial level, so the provincial level is also important because it shows the women's in leadership and decision making at the grassroots level. We also see the progress from 2007 to 2019. Women representation has increased from 4% to 20%, which is, we should give a round of applause for the effort of the government of Cambodia. And if we look into the participations of women and men in commune Sangkat councils, which they are also serve as an important role in decision-making process because they are elected by the people. So we can also see the increase of women from 9 to 14%. And at the meantime, there is a study to get to know what is the perceptions of people toward women leadership. So it has shifting positively that they welcome women in the position, and they think that more women would make more progress in the decision-making level and also could address the issue even more and become effective. And this part is the last part of the women participations and leadership. It's the shares of women in large and medium and small enterprise, small and micro enterprise. So here we can see the more women in the micro enterprise. They round up to 62%. And the second one is the small and medium enterprise, which is 26%, but the large one is 21%. So we look further, what are the root causes, or we call a contributing factor that cause a low woman representation in all levels of governments and low woman representation in the large economy. Yep. So level 4 participations, I will not touch more on the age group, but allow me to show just only this slide. The unemployment rate of Cambodia, which is recently produced by Cambodia Social Economic Survey 2019-2020, we have 2.4% of unemployment rate, in which 77% is women. And we can see that working age population is about 81% for women and 90% for men, which is not really bad. We have more women in the working age population. But we can see that women participate in the labor force from 15 years of age to 64 years of age is less than men, 77%. So there is a 7% gap here. So if we rank it by occupation, allow me to touch only the positions of professional and manager and technical associate professional, which we can see that around 25% of women are in the positions of manager, and 51% of women as a professional in the position, which is higher than men. But the technical and associates professional, we can see that women accounted only 36% and men is 64%. So this part is the comparisons of women and men in the same position. And this part, the percentage distribution, is the comparisons of women in the same trajectory and men in the same trajectory. So as you can see that there are gaps in the other position as well, but I just highlight the men occupation here. If you look into the education, it perhaps another factor that can hinder their participation in labor force and leadership as general. We can see that women in all age group has completed lower secondary school. Lower secondary school is quite lower than men, than the number of men. They number 18 plus here. It means overall women and men that has completed secondary school. So women and men completed secondary school. We can see this one, the pink one, is more than 20%, but men completed is almost 40%. But in the age group, we can see that the age group of 18-24, the young generation, the level of completion is almost similar, but the age group from 20 to 34, 35 to 44, until 65 plus, we can see that it's going down. The completion is going down. So this is a total number. We can see clearly that those who finish the post-secondary education, which also include bachelor degree, master degree, and the PhD, we can see only 4% as women, and we have 7.8% as men. Health. Why we think health is important in contributing to women's leadership? Because health is women's men. I mean, people need to have a good health to participate in all activity. So if we look into the indicator of health here, we can see that women tend to marry younger than men. So they will face what is called pregnancy, young pregnancy. And if you look into the illness injury, we can see the response that women tend to have illness and injury than men, and the numbers of women getting married or have a young companionship is more than men as well. So these are the factors that would put young women into violence, or maybe they don't have, they cannot reach their full potential, especially in education, which also the root cause for them not to pursue higher degree or go into higher position. The challenges, we highlight only two, because we're talking about a woman leadership, so we want to also raise the women challenges. First, it's a general role, and it's about a social norm which create the barriers for women to participate fully in leadership positions. Of course, violence against women, and as you mentioned earlier, it's a low level of education, and the institutional factor and political factor, which are not really friendly for women. If we talk about a political factor, maybe we can think about quota. Quota actually, it's not a gender equality, but gender equality term, but if without the quota, women would hardly to participate in politics. And our challenges in analyze this document, we don't have much data available. So all the data I have shown here is the one that we have from the National Institute of Statistics, and we don't have much about the household survey, which can highlight the what is called work-life balance of men and men doing in 24 hours a day. And we don't have the harmonizing gender data, which is for us to analyze. So that is the end of my presentation, and this one I think I should not touch on it. Thank you very much for your attention. You forget to unmute.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mutchandinda, for your insightful and valuable remark. And this is very good, and for everyone to understand more about the role of the women in the society and also the participation. And this is very good, and for us to learn more, and we can have more questions when the open discussion we open for the discussion. So next, please turn the floor to our honorable speaker from the Ministry of Women Affairs, Her Excellency Hu Naratmita, to deliver her remark. Excellency, please, the floor is yours. Your Excellencies.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank you to the ASEAN Vision Institute for allowing me to be a part of this dialogue. I am going to, can someone help me to share my PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, please. Yes, please, Your Excellency.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I am going to share with you the policy and institutionalized building for women empowerment in Cambodia. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Yeah, of course, we can.
Okay, my presentation will cover into these two main parts. Part one, I will share with you about the gender mainstreaming policy framework in our society, which followed by part two about the mechanism, how can we implement this policy. Next slide, please. Or maybe someone make it in animation, so it will come a little bit late. Yes. So promoting women empowerment to achieving gender equality and ending gender-based violence to mutual sustainable economic growth. Please go back. Go back to the previous one. Yeah. Back. Yes. It's a mutual sustainable economic growth and develop an inclusive society. Move to another slide. I'm sorry, maybe because of the technology. Yeah, stay with this line. Stay with this line. Okay. Sorry, come back again. Did someone hear me that I want? No.
Yes, we can hear you clearly, right?
Okay. Yes, this slide. The slide with the picture. The slide number 3. The slide number 3. Or maybe let me go. Yeah. Can we keep this slide? Yes. Let me try again. Promoting women empowerment to achieving gender equality and ending violence and ending gender-based violence to nurture a sustainable economic growth and develop an inclusive society is the one top priority of our government, which is stated clearly in the government policy and law. There are many international frameworks that Cambodia is a member state. We have here Convention Elimination Discrimination Against Women, and with this convention say that state parties shall take all appropriate measures to eliminate discrimination against women in order to ensure them equal rights with men in the field of education, and in particularly to ensure on a basis of equality of men and women. And we also have the Beijing Declaration Platform for Action, that this one used to be a core document for gender equality to allow all countries around the world to follow as a reference. And then we have a sustainable development goal, as I saw in ASEAN Institute, ASEAN Vision Institute have put for our title of this event. And you have a show about the goal number 5 is talking about gender equality. And with this sustainable development goal, there are 17 goals. And in some countries, including Cambodia, we have 18 goals because we have added another goal related to the mining. And among those 18 goals, gender equality is goal number 5. But I would like to explain that it's not only in the goal number 5 for gender equality. We have also worked very hard with the all sectoral goal, which means all 18 goals is about integrate gender mainstreaming into there. That is the way that we work in order to meet our gender equality in our society. And you may all know that this sustainable development goal is the continuing activity from the Millennium Development Goal. Next slide, please. So if you look at the countryside, start from the rectangular strategy, national strategic plan of action, that with this document, it states very clearly about the keyword, which is they already been thinking about putting gender as a core, like they have put the word inclusive growth, equity, and also women at the backbone of the national economic and social development. And then we have the policy on gender equality. We are now currently develop the national policy to upgrade our policy, become more effort, even more higher level. There are a national strategic plan for gender equality, and we call it the short word Neri Ratana. And now we are in the period of Nari Ratana number 5, 2019-2023. With this strategic plan for gender equality, there are 6 main strategies, including women economic, health, education, women in leadership, women in climate change. That is the 6th strategy is the call for promoting gender equality in our society. And then we have the National Action Plan to prevent violence against women, part 3. It means that we have part 1, part 2. Now we are in the part 3. This action plan is a primary prevention have been intensively carrying out nationwide to increase public awareness and promote social behavior change. In the context of COVID-19, Cambodians have utilized digital platforms to engage with public audience and to spread out the COVID-19 and gender-based violence prevention message and to ensure the continuity of essential protection service for women, victims, survivors of gender-based violence. We also have adopted from SDG to Cambodian Sustainable Development Goal, and I already been explained to you previous. So for following by, can you move to the next slide, please? Following by the Cambodian gender assessment. This is the main document as well. As Linda has previously explained to you, we used to conduct this kind of activity in order to follow up what is the achieving that our society have completed and what is the challenge, and then come up with the recommendation for the policy maker to be considered for their next activity. And there are the legal policy framework and progress and situation analysis. Can you move to another, please? Yes, the next slide, yeah. So what I have presented to you is talking about the macro level. Now we move to the program and sectoral level. There are many documents, many strategic, many action or program that all line ministry in our society have been put in place for their implementation. For example, we have National Program for Sub-National Democratic Development IP3. We also have public administrative reform, public financial management, climate change. And we have the Gender Mainstreaming Action Plan as well as Gender Mainstreaming Action Group. It means that Cambodia is moving forward to enhance participation of women in all sectors and especially in decision making by the full implementation of National Strategic Plan for Gender Equality and Women Empowerment. Cambodian SDG and through the establishment of an interministerial and multi-stakeholder working group which address the issue across the government. Next slide, please. As I mentioned that my presentation will cover in 2 parts. This is the second part. Before we talking about policy, program, strategic to be implemented. So for translate from the document policy into the real action, you cannot move it on without the mechanism. So there is the mechanism for implement the gender equality and gender development in our society. In the top, we have the Cambodian National Council for Women. This institution, they play a very important role in the leading of monitoring and evaluation. It means that Cambodian National Council for Women will conduct the monitoring and evaluation with all key player partners to ensure that where we are now, and they also send the report to the international bodies. Followed by the Ministry of Women's Affairs, we also play a role in coordination and providing technical support to the all key players in our society to help them to integrate the concept of gender equality, the concept of women empowerment in their sector level. And at the last, we have established the technical working group on gender, and their role is specific coordination and organize the technical support among their own institutions. And then we also have established the gender mainstreaming action plan in order for them to implement the concept of gender mainstreaming. So next slide, please. Here is the last slide of my presentation, and to make you all easy to see, it summarize all slides that I have presented you. You can imagine that a strong and a high building can stand because of the foundation. That's why we put number 4 that compare like the foundation to make gender mainstreaming, gender equality work effect in our society. So the foundation that we call as a mechanism, which is support the creation of law, policy, program, make its implementation effective. The Royal Government of Cambodia remains committed to promoting gender equality and women's rights, and continue working with private sector, development partner, research institution, civil society to ensure that the national target, including Cambodian sustainable development, are fully achieved, and that the social economic development and Cambodian deliver to all women and girls in our society. I am thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Excellency, for your insightful and valuable remark. And ladies and gentlemen, you are now watching the AVI SDG dialogue. And now we have been enjoying listening to a very insightful comments from our honorable speakers. And our programs now is approaching to open the discussion session. And however, as right now, our teamwork, we have 3 questions from the audience. So I will raise the question, and this question maybe goes to each honorable speakers. So I might raise now the question number 1 I got from Facebook, and this one, the role is what role of the women in the development, and so this is a very short question, but I mean maybe the answer is a little bit long, and so we need more explanation from our guest speaker. So and this question maybe goes to the Miss Linda. So please you respond to this question.
Thank you very much for the questions. Actually, like you mentioned, the question is short, but the answer will be very long. So in terms of women role in development, like I have raised earlier in the presentation, that it contributed from the women participations in education, in economy, and in politics, and especially in decision-making levels. So all those participations of women in the sector has contributed to the development of her family, and the country as a whole, and of course as a region. So we know that women accounted half of the world population, and also in Cambodia, women accounted half of the total population. But the opportunity for women participated in the economy and politics activity is quite lower than men. So when women could have a fair and have more opportunity to involve and participate with men, in partners with men, so that women can contribute to the development. So this, if you don't include women, that means the development would lag behind, because women would have a different skill and capacity in their own potential. So women and men might have different potential in development. So I might not say that how much women contribute into the economy, because we have mentioned earlier that we have women in micro, small and medium enterprise and large enterprise, and of course you know that a lot of employment would come out from the micro and small and medium enterprise. So that means women have contributed a lot to the development of the country in terms of economic development. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Linda, and this is also very good. And then the question goes to Her Excellency Jirota. Please respond to this question. Your Excellency, are you here?
Yeah, thank you for the question. For CWA, we think that the role of women is by establish a gender mainstream support structure. Support structure is consulting partner regarding the conceptual tasks and the development of appropriate gender mainstream method, and the tool to establishing the maintaining the gender information management system. So it's good to create a gender equality competent development plan as well. And also development of the gender mainstream strategy that raising awareness, communicating gender mainstream networking, and coordinating with our partners such as UNIDO and MOVA, and also developing symposium, a cultural norm, and how to affect the perspective of gender equality, and also supporting staff member with the implementation of the gender mainstream method, and tool and development of the gender equality action plan provided by some partner like PACS, TFO, and Canada and CBI. Also, we monitor the process of organization change and the progress made in implementing gender mainstream. Last but not least is coordinating and regulating the process of introducing gender mainstream. Thank you.
Thank you. This is very clear. So I hope everyone can satisfy with the answer from Her Excellency. So also we would like to know the perspective from Her Excellency Meta, and how do you think about this? What is the role of the women in the development, especially in Cambodia like this?
Thank you very much for the question. The perspective of Ministry of Women's Affairs, and we're not different from the other. It's the role of women and men in participation in development are equal. But in reality, according to the gender norm, according to the real practice, according to the burden of work, our society used to follow. As a result, as in that show, they are the leg of the presence of women in the participation in society. So in the short word that I would like to say, we Ministry of Women's Affairs would like to have empowerment women to be participate in all sectors that they can. So if we can join hand together, it means men and women can be together for development. It will push our country very fast development. This is the concept that I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And as Ms. Linda raised in the presentation, I would like to connect the question with the first question and connect together. So as you may know, Cambodian, we have a very wonderful culture from the very long story. And so Ms. Melinda, you had mentioned that institutional or some organization, maybe the workplace and work environment, they thinking about the culture of a quota. And what do you think? How can it reduce, and what do you think about the perspective and when it can be reduced to reach our goal for the gender equality?
Thank you very much for the question. And personally, if I have to respond to it, personally, I would say that I don't like the word quota at all, because it would show an unfair competition between men and women in the position. But if you don't give quotas for women in some position or in some area, particularly in digital platform, I would say that I myself also an illiteracy of IIT, I would say. Just one day before the presentations, my computer is completely shut down, and I have to run all over the place to get the help. So in some organization, because they don't have much women representation, so it is a way that they voluntarily to put quotas for women in the position. But if it's very challenging for the position to have equal competition, because it rely on more the so-called competency. Without the competency, you cannot achieve any of the work in particular position. So I might say that quota is good, but it's not for all the areas that we should have women and men in the position. That is my answer. But if you question about institutional barrier, I would raise another perspective, that if we have more men on the higher level, so they tend to have more men as a follower, as a deputy. So it would be create an environment that have more men as a leader. But if you have more women in the position, so I would say that I also want to have a woman assistant, or they can be later on be a director. So when you have more women in the position, it tends to have provoke more women to participate in your platform and become a leaders like their role models. I would say that. Thank you.
So in this point, do you think it should be have some kind of system checking point, or like I mean, how the system to check that? Sometimes we based on the feeling, we based on the connection or some kind of like that. So So do you think we should have some kind of system to check for that, like some kind of like some position we should have the votation or something else be other than the feeling or connection or family connection, just like that?
It's always a question that whether or not that kind of person come to this leading position because of the connection. I don't think that there is any instruments to check. It's a political will. It's the will of the leader of the institution to allow fair competition, to allow more men or more women to voice their concern, to rest their potential, I would say. Because if I am the only woman in this meeting and the other are men, and they discuss about one policy, and I have only one voice, so I'm not sure whether or not I should raise this concern, because they might not listen to my voice because the rest of the speaker are men. So I would say the will of the leader, the will of the heads of the institution. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And how about Her Excellency Naramita? How do you think about this point? About the quota participation in development, institutional development, or the country development, and how do you think from your perspective? Thank you.
Melinda mentioned sometimes the concept of having the quota will put those women think that, oh, I become a leader because of this place they secure for us, something like that. It means they pass the competitive or something. But without quota, women in our society may face a lot of difficulty. I fully agree. Melinda said, sometimes if you have a group of men, the majority we have men and with the small women, so there will be a challenge and a difficult for women to raise their opinion or sometimes to share their real problem among the men. So this is make our work more and more seriously. But by having quota, at least we have a representative, and then we can raise and raise our real opinion and our voice, and especially you have to deal very hard among the men to integrate the concept that having, if you are thinking about gender equality, it means that you are not thinking only for men or for women only. It means that if you think about gender equality, it means both men and women are jointly, fully enjoy with together, and we can put everything develop very faster. But sometimes looking back in our society, sometimes because of the cultural norm, sometimes because of the belief, they think that this is suit men, separate that this suit women. So this is make the imbalance between men and women. That the challenge we face until now. So the first thing, thanks to the government that they, especially the Prime Minister, they are putting the quota first. Starting from the quota, I think later on, men and women will use their talent to work together to have our society for gender equality. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And because right now we have many questions from the Facebook and also from the Zoom, so I might stop this question and then I can raise another question to our speaker. So now the question one I pick one from the Facebook and from I don't know, Mr. or Ms. Chan Rocky. He mentioned that thank you very much for the meaningful speeches, and he have a question related to women and science, and they can. They said, what is the? Do you have any strategy to encourage women to participate in science study? And this is his question. So maybe the question can go to Her Excellency Jirata.
Yeah, some organ, some question. Thank you so much for the question. It's really a great question, and it's related to my field as well. That is the challenges that I'm also trying to push, because we know that the women in STEM is very low. First of all, the challenge of the social norm is related to gender relation continue to constrain the development of the women potential and hinder their empowerment in the economic, social, public, and political life. In general, attitude of the rural parent toward the education of their daughter, resulting in the low participation of the girl in STEM field because of their traditional mind, right? Additionally, positive parenting practice are still not widely understood and encouraged. There are significant commitment to combat gender-based violence against women, also against children. Those are also implemented, as well as encouragement to go into the science field. So I also wrote an article that why women did not pursue go into the science and technology or STEM field, because one is the parent did not understand. Two is our mentality is like biased. Men even go into the classroom, right? The men always think that women who study science are not really women, right? So that's their mentality, and they don't give the woman, the girl, a lot of empowerment for them to study. They give them a hard time. So they don't include them in their project. If they include them in their project, they give them the administrative work not related to the project itself. Like if, for example, I'm coming from background as a programmer, and I heard when I interviewed some are the women programmer in Cambodia, I was very surprised that they said, oh, I did not had enough time to do coding because my peer or my teammate asked me to do administrative work. So I don't have time to practice my computer skill. And then when they come out, they're not confident enough to pursue the programming skill. That's why we see the very low percentage of women in science, and also because of family. So also is another factor. Family, when they have kids, they cannot pursue as science and technology going very fast every day. They cannot keep up with the new trend coming out, because they have to take time to take care of their kid, have to take time take care of their parents. So that's why when they come back into this field, they're lagging behind. So what for me, I would suggest that pick a role model and follow them. Like right now, we see a lot of women in science, like including myself, also be coming out and advocating for people to go into that field. Because and also from my advice is that when you go into science technology field, you don't have to stop working when you have kids, right? You can continue reading it while you are taking time take care of your kid, and then when you come back, you still have the sense of attached to the world of science and technology, so you don't feel left behind. And as well as for women, they should not plan too far ahead of their career. Like for example, when they going into work interview, they think that, oh, should I, or when they offer a position to take more responsibility, they always reject their responsibility because they think, oh, I have to plan ahead to get married this year, so maybe I cannot take that responsibility, so that they are lagging behind of their career advancement because of they're planning too much on their career, prospective family life. So my advice for them is take it slow and always say yes to the possibility and advancement, everything that they throw at you. So be positive and always say yes. Thank you.
Yes, must be positive and say yes. Thank you.
Can I share some with this question?
Yes, please.
Yes. As I mentioned in our National Strategic Plan for Gender Equality, education is the strategic number 2 that we put as a priority in our strategy. And another one, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport is the one of the outstanding ministry, have extended coverage of school facility to increase number of educators to ensure no one is left behind in access to education on SDG. They also have its own gender mainstreaming action, mainstreaming strategy, and gender responsive budgeting. As a result, now the increasing number of girls and undergraduate and postgraduate is higher than compared to the past. In the leadership position, it has shown the increased number as well. The education sector play a very important role in the national development, and the government has made great strides toward increased access to education outcome. That is what I would like to share.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for the very good answer. I hope the audience satisfied with this response. So, because now we have many questions from the Facebook, so I just randomly pick up, and the question is from the Mitona. She's from she mentioned that, as mentioned by Ms. Linda, the women participation in the macro level is still small. So what should be the intervention to increase the level of women participation in macro level, especially in the pandemic period? So Ms. Melinda, please respond to this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is the statistic that we have received long ago, actually. It's from the Inter-Economic Center in 2014 because of the budget constraints, so that NIS could not produce any updated statistic. I am convinced that the more women in the enterprise might be increasing, but I'm not sure how much. But this is the latest one. It's in 2014. If you ask how to attract women or how to have to increase women in the large enterprise, it would come with the how to say this, because when we talk about private sector, it's their will, the individual will to set up micro or small or medium enterprise. But if we look into the challenges that women have confronted so far, according to our statistics, women might be lack of a authority or possession over the property. Women might have a limited decision in the household to create what kinds of business they want. So this is would be the strategy or policies of the government is already enable both women and men to participate equally in the private sector, in the enterprise, I would say. But if we can see low numbers of women, it might be come from individuals of the families of the women themselves, that they might not take risks to expand the business to the large enterprise, unlike the other international business that you have both women and men. So large business here, it might also include the international business that operate in Cambodia. But we can see the tendencies of more women in small and medium enterprise, which is a positive movement that women has developed from micro to small and medium enterprise. And if you ask how to have more women in the large enterprise, but please look back into the participations of employment that I read earlier, that micro and small and medium enterprise attract more employment than the large enterprise, because the large enterprise you will need a lot of capital. More capital will be invested in that. So both women and men, they might have think about the risk assessment, whether or not to invest in the large corporation. So it would be the decisions of her own, and also the environment that would enabling her to have possessions over the property, to have the decisions in the household that she can whether or not to run her own business from small to big enterprise. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your response, and I hope they satisfy with your response. So actually, we have many questions. It's really hard to the question. A lot of very interesting. So our teamwork they pick up several questions randomly. So and now we have 15 minutes more. So I think maybe we have 2 more questions. So I can raise the question from the source from the Facebook. So this is from Kel Muida Van Lee. He mentioned that as Cambodia is moving forward to digital economy, and what are the Ministry of Women Affairs strategies to bridge the gender digital divide, so the women are able to actively participate in the future digital economy. So this question maybe goes to Her Excellency Morita Naritmata.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. And this question is come at the same time that today is another series of training for digital for the young generation of Ministry of Women's Affairs. Because now our government plan to transform to be the government digital to human capital human on digital. So at the same time, when the COVID-19 still happened to our around the world, especially Cambodian as well, so we at the ministry have to think what we should do, what we must do in order to help our country to achieve our vision. So that's why Her Excellency Minister Angkantapavi allow our team, because we call like our group to have the kind of series of training related to digital and industry 4.0. As I mentioned that today is the third series of training related to digital. It means that now we are provide the capacity building on digital and industry 4.0 in order to make our not only the staff at the central, but among those 25 provinces, our Department of Women's Affairs, or they have sent at least 2 or 3 people to attend this training in order to become the core trainer, and they can educate this kind of technology for their staff to be more and can implement our work effectively. So the training, like I can say that it's like a pilot training, but we will plan, because at the same time we try to advocate to find the budget to do the resource mobilization for support this kind of activity, this kind of training for those all our staff for the future. And there will be five series of training for one step. And after these 5 training finish, we will extend more to other. So this is our commitment for the industry 4.0. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your response to this very wonderful question. So I also have another question from the Facebook also, and this question maybe goes to Excellency Jirata, and the question is about is from Mr. from Facebook from Mr. Eng Wan Thai. He mentioned that I can see our government and related ministry develops strategies, plan and guidelines and working groups to address gender issue. But in your own perspective, and how do you think you can mobilize the resources toward to reach the plan and strategy for the real practice? So please, Her Excellency, Your Excellency Kirata, please respond to this. Thank you.
Okay.
Or your own perspective. Thank you.
Oh, my own perspective. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for the question. First of all, I would give the CW perspective, and also I can give my perspective. We know that the royal government encourage the implementation of training, national training advocacy to go forward the digital economy, right? So the government increase the skill, entrepreneurship, and also the skill development fund with the Khmer enterprise supporting the entrepreneur as well. We also have this kind of funding. So for CWA, we are in collaboration with our partner on the following: Zoom meeting access training, Microsoft Teams virtual platform meeting, actual practice by inviting them to join our virtual meeting and guiding through the process of getting in and use the digital meeting tool. So that's the first step that we can introduce, because you know that women entrepreneur, they technology, as mentioned by Ms. Melinda, said they are very lacking in terms of technology, right? So we introduce them slowly to catch up on the Zoom, first of all, chatting, all those things. We think that is basic, but at least they're starting to learn something new, right? They're adapting, they're changing their background, they're changing. And also now we introduce them to taking poll on the Zoom as well, so that they can learn all the basics, how to do their meeting online virtually instead of they not cannot go meet face to face. Also, we have digital learning on the e-marketing. We also conducting some e-marketing training and symposium. And we also had e-commerce platform by partnering through our member, which and exploring the developing of MOU to more internally accessible platform of e-trading as well. That's the process that we are trying to develop our SME, right?
Yep.
Okay, and also education webinar mostly from UNIDO about the gender awareness educational program, where the participants get a certificate when they pass the webinar. And for my own perspective regarding this readiness for the digital economy, we we are planning to bridge the gap, right, between the government and the private sector. So in order to be able to go flow with that, we need to have a lot of communication. Even though a government need a really good strategy, try to implement a lot of forum or this and that, but the strategy, if there's not a lot of dialogue between the government and the private, we're not going to be on the same page, right? So this is a good dialogue that you create the ABI, having a government representative with the private representative and with the sponsor like UN representative to come together and talk over the strategic planning. And we need someone to implement it, right? Planning and then implement, and need funding to do those implementation to be able to be successful moving forward together. Yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your very scientific explanation about for this kind of question. So I hope this is very useful for everyone, like for your research and for your idea, for your institutional development. Or this is very good. And we have a few more questions more. So I got one from Mr. Kong Pitu, and his question is, what are the contribution of the women for the education development during the difficult time of COVID-19? So I think this might go to each of speaker. So maybe Ms. Melinda, please kindly respond to this question. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the questions. If you ask personally, actually women has contributed a lot to the education during this COVID crisis. Mostly women tend to be the what is called the care home taker, we would say that. They will have to work from home. They will have to teach children because everyone, including the mommy, has to go online. So when the education switch to the online platform, not all the kids will understand how to use that kinds of platform. So I believe that most of the women has to accompany their children to go study online. We don't mention those who have the ability to hire someone to tutor their children, but personally, the woman has to work double. I might say triple, because they have to work themselves out a lot at home office. They have to cook. They have to take care of all parents, children, not just only about studying, not just only education, but also take care of their general activities. Because when kids switch from go to school to study online, they are not just only focus on their study, but the other thing around. So I might say is that the internet has posed some risk for the children, that the parent has to be on an alert that their children might be got affected from the internet's violence, not includes other things. Yep. So this is a common woman who have children to take care of. I'm not mentioning about those women who are the teacher, who are the leaders in the education system, that they have to work harder in order to give an effective online learning. So I would say that women have contributed a lot in this new studying platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Melinda, for your kind response. So due to the time constraints, so maybe I have to stop right now, because we still have more questions to come. But So based on the time constraints, so I would like to say thank you so much, Excellencies and distinguished guest speakers, and for your valuable comments. And as the time limited, I would like to end our discussion here. So, but before we closing our programs, may I invite all honorable speakers for the group photo, please. And so please turn on your camera, and I will count to 5, and please don't forget to have a big smile. Thank you. So, okay. So please, I will count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye. Yeah. Give you. Yeah. Excellency.
Linda, so bye, Linda.
សប្បាយបងអរគុណ
Excellent.